Well, here we are again to release some more products. Unwrapping the Turbosmart FPR Fuel Pressure Regulator to go with the unwrapping of the Aeromotive Stealth Fuel Pump. First, the fuel pump, as you remember, was capable of 750 horsepower, or 700. This one is capable of 800. It comes packaged with a bracket, mounting bracket, mounting screws, instructions on a disc, a sticker for your window, invoice. First thing that surprised me was that made in Australia. Go Aussie! Online, I did the research. It's very, very much recommended as a product. It's very heavy, made of billet steel, aluminium, and all in all, it's a very good quality looking product. This is the FPR800 version 2. Apparently there was a bit of a problem with the original version. I'm not 100% sure on it, but apparently there was. So you'd have to look into that if you are going to buy the original 800 FPR800. So I wasn't aware of that until I bought it, and then when I unpacked it, version 2, I'm like, why version 2? And then I saw there was some people with problems on the internet, but I didn't look into it very deeply. I was just happy I had version 2, the newer model. Alright, now this works in conjunction with the fuel pump. The Jeep has a filter / regulator built in, and it's replaced as a single unit. Fine product. It's been in the Jeep probably the whole 17 odd years that it's been alive. Alive, I say, because they're part of the family. And I would say be blocked now. The filter is supposed to be lifetime filter. How is that possible? You know what I mean? Maybe for 5 years, yeah, but I guess they didn't make these vehicles to last 17 odd years. Maybe they didn't expect people to love them and look after them that long. So I would love to, when I do the film, I'll open it up and see what's inside, see what nasties we can find, and how come it can be a lifetime filter. But with this setup, I can just put an inline filter in that I can just clean, a cleanable one, to be, if I want to be environmentally sustainable, or I could go just for a $5 cheap clear plastic one and replace it whenever I do an oil change. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go for yet, depending on the price. Unless there's a filter company out there that would like me to show off their product, I'm happy to do so. So this pumps the fuel. The fuel gets to the regulator. The Jeep, I believe, is factory at 50 psi or 3 bar. Excuse my son moaning in the background, he's disabled. And someone told, when I said I wanted to upgrade my fuel injectors to a higher volume, he said, well, why don't you get a regulator first and then up the pressure to, say, 60, and then you should get roughly a 20% increase in fuel flow, which all makes sense, really. And it would also atomize a lot better, a higher pressure. So I'm willing to give that a go. Let's hope that injectors don't split. Also, what I want to do is that Jeep has 2 fuel rails, being a V8. The fuel goes in on one side, travels down a big pipe, through a thinner pipe, back to a fat pipe. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but in layman's term, just looking at it, I would say that by the time the fuel gets to the last fuel injector, some of that pressure and flow would have dropped. So maybe there's plenty to go around, I don't know, but to me it doesn't look right. So where it joins, goes from fat pipe to thin pipe, back to fat pipe in the curve, I'm going to get my pipe cutter, cut that, and I'm going to connect my fuel line to that at the back of the engine, and I'm going to run a T-join of this so that, if it's preferably a Y, so that it flows better than a T, basically so I can get the same pressure both banks without the fuel having to flow all the way to the other side. I could be totally wrong, but in my opinion, there's got to be some difference. You know, even if it's a few percent, I wouldn't be happy with it. So I've also brought the Turbosmart Fuel Pressure gauge so I can see what I'm doing while I'm working on it. Not sure why the oil filled. I'm unsure. Let's see if you can see that in there. Zoom in. See, there's an air bubble in there. So the oil filled for some reason. So the Jeep also had a return line from the regulator. Since I put in the regulator under the bonnet, I'm going to have to run a return line all the way back. So I'm going to run a couple of decent diameter lines from the tank to the engine to get to this. So yeah, there you have it. The Aeromotive pump, which is very highly rated online, and the Turbosmart FPR, also very highly recommended online. I did a lot of research and found very little negative comments about these items, and a lot of people recommending them. So, and I normally spend many hours researching before I decide. I probably spent a good 4 hours, 5 hours researching over a period of about a week to make sure that I get what I want. And now there's a fuel line in, which is, I presume, the bottom, and a fuel line out, and I presume the one with the bung in it is for the gauge. So, and this is for the vacuum line. The reason that is there, which you need to disconnect when you tune it, but the reason that is there is so that when you are accelerating or deaccelerating, it adjusts the pressure accordingly. So imagine at idle you've got 50 psi and you floor it, and all of a sudden your engine demands a lot more fuel. So what this does is it adjusts, so it's a constant 50 psi, right? So not that you've got 50 psi idle only and you put your foot down and it drops down to 20. No, this will, with the vacuum line, it will keep increasing it or decreasing it as needed, which is also awesome, apparently this one, because it works with boosted engines such as turbo and or supercharged. I guess that's why it's called the Turbosmart. So there you have it, the two main parts. So all I need to do now is get a disposable filter and some fuel line, and I can do this. But I've also ordered a throttle body positioning sensor and also an IAC, which is the idle valve. I'm just, even though I've redone and cleaned everything perfectly, probably some 5,000 to 10,000 ago, when I upgraded my throttle body to a 70mm, and that was awesome, by the way. I may as well put new ones in at the same time. And the finance allowing, I'm also going to upgrade all the other sensors like knock sensors, cam sensors, stuff like that. I'll have to look online and see how much they are. It's nice to be able to do everything. I should really have a book and write it down, everything that I do and when I do it. So anyway, I hope you like my explanation of this and what I'm doing. So if you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, you're going to see me putting all this stuff in. If there's anything else that you want to know, please just ask under the questions of the clip on YouTube, and or request me to show it in a clip. I can also do that if I can do it. Between my very, very poor health and renovating of this house, I'm very limited in time, so I apologize for the lack of clips the last 4 months, but I will get there, promise. I will get there. I will never leave. I will always be around. So by all means, ask me questions. Every morning I check for questions, I answer questions. So I will continue to do that. No problems at all. If anybody needs a workshop manual for the WJ, let me know, and I can send you a digital copy free of charge. What they say, with compliments from Home Mechanics. So there you go. There you have it. The fuel pressure regulator, what it does and how it does it. So I'm going to try the 60 psi and see if that makes a difference. But I think I need a fuel management system, because sometimes at idle it will stall and blow black smoke, which means at idle there's too much fuel. That could be due to a faulty regulator, but the lumpy camshafts and the factory ECU, it doesn't work. Like, you could probably go to an HO, but anything bigger than that, especially as big as I went, not recommended unless you've got the funds to, say, get it custom tuned, a custom chip, or a Haltech system, which is my dream. Hey Haltech, if you're out there, let me know. I can advertise your product for you. Hey, you can only hope. Anyway, if you like my stuff, please like and subscribe, and then you'll be updated all the time for the next clip. So, take care, have a good one, and keep that gasoline running through your veins.